Welcome to the Jailbreak Sessions interviews. Yes, the Jailbreak Sessions now have interviews as opposed to just being an open mic once a month. The reason for that is we have had some amazing artists and performers coming here over the last year, never to be heard of again. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to chat to some of our best performers from the last year and basically check out our YouTube channel, the Jailbreak Sessions on YouTube, and you can hear about these people, learn about their inspirations and what they're doing. So my guest today is Danial Wade. How you doing, Danny?
Hey, Al. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for having me on board.
Not at all. So before we get into the poetry, etc., could you tell us a bit about yourself, your background?
I suppose I'm trying hard not to look at the questions there, but you know, I didn't really grow up in a literary household. You know, I was more musicians, and I was just the black sheep because I just read all the time, and even though and all my family were musicians, and then I think I wrote my first story when I was about 9, and I didn't really take it seriously until I was about, I think, 15 or 16.
Okay.
So
you didn't take it seriously. What was your first story about?
The first story was about a pirate.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Named after me, you know.
So. I think that was you. Later on, that poem was adapted into a Disney series.
It was, yeah. They robbed it off me entirely, you bastards.
There you go. That's the kind of thing we're here to fix. Royalties for poets, etc. I'm skipping ahead to a question here about the importance of experiencing music and poetry and whatever else live. How important do you think that is?
Well, I think Paul Meehan once said that that if anything, the book is kind of the anomaly within poetry, because initially it was just spoken word, and it was just someone holding court and reciting from memory, and actually writing it down was like way back in Celtic era times. The writing it down was actually something only a privileged few had, but now it's come entirely full circle. Now it's written down, and I'm kind of I get up and I read, but I read off a page, and I make no kind of apologies for it, you know. But that doesn't change the fact that you've seen a lot of slam poets get up and they just recite it from memory, and actually they're kind of, in many ways, they're being more traditional than I suppose I'd be. If I'm making sense. Absolutely.
Just in general, art forms. How do you think important it is to meet, see, hear the artist?
It's important enough. I mean, you have to. I think more so now than ever, a lot of writers are essentially, well, poets anyway, make their money off live performance. I mean, it's kind of actually unheard of if you don't. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just the way. That's more a pragmatic thing than anything else. But then at the same time, if you look at people like some writers are brilliant readers, and they mightn't be very well known, and then there's other writers like Yeats and Eliot and Robert Frost, who, in my view, aren't very good readers. Okay. I mean, you've probably heard Yeats reading Isle of Innish Free, and it's kind of, there's something very unbearable about it, you know. I think anyway. And Eliot's kind of drab, and Frost is just so arduously drawn out. You know, there's actually no sense of a performance to it, and there probably should be, just to keep the words alive. And let's say if that makes sense.
Let's say that's somebody's experience of poetry. They've seen that and they're like, maybe not. Would you still say to them, get out and go to open mic nights and see?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, at the very least, it is kind of, it's about, builds confidence. At least for me, it has, and it kind of makes you more aware of how your work might be perceived in a context other than on the page. And that's something I definitely learned. I've been doing this since I was about 16, really, and like performing in public. And I've learned there's things you have to do, and you can't just treat the audience with a bit of respect, because people are intelligent. I think fundamentally, and be aware of that, and they can tell when someone's a chancer and just being a bit of a charlatan, and when they're not, you know.
I think you're right there.
So far, no one's hauled me out of here yet, so I think I'm doing okay.
There's time yet.
There's time yet.
I'll tell you, well, one thing I was advised in working in office jobs, if you have a difficult bit of news to give a customer, give them a phone call. Don't send them an email. It can be read 10, 15 different ways. So, assuming the poet is a good reader, it's probably best to go see them.
Well, I mean, an example of someone who's a great writer and a great reader would be Dylan Thomas, I think, because he knew what to. He had a wonderful reading voice anyway, but he obviously was reading his work with this kind of with the right amount of power, and that was just whenever I hear it anyway. Another one would be like Felix Dennis, and he probably trained as an actor because he has that big kind of actorial, theatrical voice, and you know that's actually important. And then even if you look at slam poets as well, even people like around town like Colin Keegan or Stephen James Smith or people like that, they have a sense of that it's not just one thing. It's more than that. It's more than. Losing my train of thought here. Where am I going with this? Basically, they know it's not just on the page. It comes to life when they recite it.
You can also communicate some sort of emotional attachment. Like there's one of the poems you read here. It's about your uncle or your grand uncle.
My great grandfather. Yeah.
Great grandfather.
Yeah.
And apart from being a touching story and an interesting story in there. We're looking at somebody's grandchild, the grandchild of someone who went through a horrible experience.
Or great grandchild as well.
Or great grandchild.
Mind you, a lot of aunts and uncles who were very, they were quite moved by it, which was quite nice. And
Okay. Well, come here. Back to your own poems. How would you describe your style?
Angry and somewhat unfocused.
Excellent. Yeah, well, anger does good.
Anger does good. If it's better than going on a shooting spree or.
It's good to get it out. Yeah. Didn't bring the guns tonight, did you?
Well, I've got them in the car if you want them.
Yeah.
But,
no, you can leave them there. Sorry.
If we need them. So,
Okay. Now, so you mentioned Dylan Thomas earlier on. Would he be one of your main influences, and who else would you?
I suppose Dylan Thomas would be up there, and then I think Leonard Cohen as well, as both a reader and a writer. I saw him not too far from here, only in the museum, when I was 16, and he read out a poem called "A Thousand Kisses Deep," which was just, and he did it to a crowd of roughly 80,000 people, and you could hear a pin drop. Wow. It was just, and again, it was kind of going. Much like Healy in the Hugh Lane gallery, I was kind of going, that's how you do it. That's how you read,
It sounds like you've witnessed some earth-shattering performances. What's been the most impactful on you?
Probably either the Healy one or the Cohen one. So far, I mean, it was just because they just knew what they were doing. Like that's just what I got from them, and I kind of thought that they're the guys to look up to, So for me, anyway, probably. Sure, there's plenty to disagree, but works for me so far.
How long were you working on poetry before you were happy with something, and you had something you were happy to share?
Probably,
or even deeply proud of.
Probably first time I think I felt proud of a poem I wrote was when I was 15. But I mean, but a lot of the stuff from then I wrote then was crap. As I suppose most people would probably admit, their early efforts are never exemplary. After they are, then. Well, you're a prodigy. Yeah. We're not all prodigies. And I'm definitely not so.
Can people buy your poetry anywhere?
I've had a few things published in small magazines here and there.
Okay.
Like had a Stony Thursday book and the upcoming census from Seven Towers Agency, and Word Legs and Limerick Revival, and I keep sending stuff out, and I get more rejections than not, which is kind of just. Part of the job, really, So, but I keep coming out to this, but if you want the recordings of my work, it's SoundCloud, Danial Wade 8, so called because I'm the 8th person on SoundCloud called Danial Wade. So.
Okay, you heard it here first. Danial Wade 8 on SoundCloud. Can you look up on Facebook as well?
Yeah, my Facebook. Just put poems up there every so often. Really, that's all I use it for now.
All right, well, listen, thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck tonight as well.
Thank you.
As always,
same to you.
This is a competition, so prize for best performance.
You seem to win us an awful lot, and you're the MC. I mean, I'm not that I'm casting any kind of doubts on your good name here. But
I am the winner because I get to see these people sing every month, and I love it. That's the best thing ever. If I could make a living of this, I'd leave it straight away.
Should have gone to PR.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching. This is Danial Wade.
Okay. Thank you.
Good stuff.